The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay, I just want to let everybody know that's joining back. It sounds like we may have had some technical difficulty and the webinar ended. I have just restarted it. I'm just waiting for program and DPO staff to come back on. Please have some patience and understanding with us as we do that. So just give us a few minutes to get up and running again so we can continue. So Elena, I showed that you're signed back in. We'll give it a few more minutes. I did just remind individuals that were signing back in that we experienced some technical difficulties and asked for their patience and understanding. I'd say we give it another maybe 2 to 3 minutes before we get started again as attendees start to come back. I think it shut down for everyone. Again, not sure what happened, but I'll kind of continue to provide the announcement to just wait, and that we will carry on with the stakeholder meeting from where we left off, but we'll give it a minute or two. Elena, did you want to add anything else to the group? So Elena, I don't know if your audio is working. I'm going to quickly ask the attendees if they can hear me. If you can hear me as attendees, could you please raise your hand? All right, thank you. So I do see the hands raised. You can lower them, just making sure that we are ready to go. Be patient with us, and we'll get started as soon as we can.
Hello.
All right, Elena, I can hear you, and I'm sure the group can as well. I haven't, on my end, started the recording again. So if you'd like to do that as an organizer, feel free. And then we'll give it another few minutes before we start.
Okay, sounds good.
Chris, I see that you've come back. Thank you. So Elena, I'll wait for your green light. When you feel comfortable, we can start, but I do see that majority of the attendees are back. So I would feel comfortable whenever you feel comfortable in restarting. But if we want to give it a few more, that's absolutely fine.
Okay, no, I'm ready to continue.
Okay, so I was just saying before we lost connection, and I did do an audio check, Elena, with our attendees, and they could hear us, so I think we're good to go. This PEP Prep statewide protocol training section, which is about 2 pages, this is just an outline of what is currently in the works for availability for licensees once this does go live as a statewide protocol and requires such training as it does in the bill, that this will be one option for them, but this specific outline or these 2 pages will not be published in rules. So this is just more of an FYI. I don't know specifically if there's a hand raised by the authors of this or collaborators of this that you would like to express to the group. I'll wait a moment for that to provide any further details. Otherwise, we'll go back into the rules to continue where we left off from the appendice rule. And I do see a hand raised by Gina. I'll go ahead and unmute you. Gina, go ahead. I do show you are self-muted.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't know that you're going to share it, but yeah, just I guess FYI, we're planning to hopefully launch this on September 1st. So, and just so you guys know, or the people on the call that might be interested, in some of the speakers or contributors, Pete Anderson was he's a faculty member that we're particularly proud of, but he did the original PEP work on PEP that got published in the New England Journal, and then Jay Gill is at university, and Dan Scales, of course, is an independent practitioner specializing in HIV treatment. And so anyway, happy to have input if anyone has any, but this is pretty close to being done at this point.
Thank you, Gina. Appreciate it. All right, I don't see any other hands raised, Elena. I think we can go back to the set of rules and we'll go right into 24.00.50. Any comments or feedback on this? This is related to language conformity as it relates to a bill, and looks like there's no comments. I think we can slowly move on to the next red line rule. That might be the last one. Is that the last one, Elena?
That is the last one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do want to quickly mention, Elena, you may have to go up for this one, but the question that came up regarding Rule 14 and the language within, that language is identical from the actual bill, which is the law. So I did want to provide that input. I think there was a question raised about that earlier. So that was more of a conformity piece. Any other comments or feedback to the board? I don't see any hands raised. Again, it looks like we were at the end of our, more or less, other than the one rule, part of the meeting. And again, we apologize for the technical difficulties, but I think in the time of COVID, I think most individuals have an understanding for that. So we do appreciate your patience and understanding. Elena, I'll hand it back to you to provide kind of the tail end details that stakeholders need to know.
Okay, sounds good. Well, as we close, I do want to say thank you for participating in today's meeting. The stakeholder comments and program recommendations will be presented to the board prior to the permanent rulemaking hearing, which is tentatively scheduled for September 17th, 2020. At the formal hearing, stakeholders will have another opportunity to provide testimony and additional input as needed. If you want to provide written comments, please send them to the general rulemaking inbox or to Dimitri Kunin. The general rulemaking inbox is Dora_VPO_rulemaking@state.co.us. We will accept written comments up to the date of the hearing. However, to provide the board with adequate time for review and consideration, we do ask that you submit your comments no later than Thursday, September 3rd. That concludes the stakeholder meeting today, and thank you again for your participation. We are going to end the webinar.